So SPF is an email authentication method that verifies whether a sender's IP address is in the list approved by the domain owner. So imagine inviting your friends to a party. Before letting anyone in, you will always check the name against the party list. If the guest's name is not on the party list, you will not let them in. So SPF works similarly for emails. The server sending the email is matched with an approved list of domains by the domain owner. If the sender's IP address is not on the domain list, then it is treated as a suspicious email, just like an uninvited guest coming and hitting on your party.
So in order to set up SPF protection encryption on your email domains, the first step would be to log into your GoDaddy dashboard. Then we need to select the domains on which we want to put the encryption. For example, here I'm going to select thatware.online. Now click on manage. If you click on manage and go to the DNS settings, for example, if you go to the domain and domain settings, you can find the manage DNS section over here. Click on that. So here is all the DNS records of thatware.online. Now we need to add the necessary encryption records on this in this section. Let's start with the SPF encryption. So in order to do that, we need to go to a website called easydmark.com. So here I'm going to start step 2. Step 2 is go to this tool section and open the SPF record generator. Now we need to enter the domain name that we are going to apply the SPF protection on. Keep this blank. Okay. So enter the domain name over here, and then in this section write secureserver.net. Yeah. Now then click on the select failure policy to soft fail and then click on generate. You see the SPF records has been generated in this format. Now you need to add this DNS record into the DNS section of your email domains. So go to the domain section, copy the host type, that is txt. So you need to basically add a record over here. So click on add record, choose txt folder, click on @ the value. In the value section, copy the value that is mentioned over here. Select the TTL to 1.5 hours and then click save. In my case, I already have an SPF encryption record over here, so I have to delete it first. Let's delete that. Now I can just add another new record over here. I'll hit on save. So step 3 is done, where I have successfully added the SPF encryption records into the DNS settings. Now step 4 would be to validate that whether this encryption is applied properly or not. In order to do that, we need to go to a website called mxtoolbox.com, and over there we can just type on Google MX Toolbox and then SPF record SPF checker. So you automatically come to the SPF checker section of this website, and then you simply type in the domain name and click on SPF record lookup. If you see something of a result like this, then it clearly mentions that the SPF record version is available and it is a pass. The SPF record is found, and if all of the parameters are ticked green, then the SPF encryption has been successfully implemented in your email domain. So that's how you implement the SPF encryption. Let's move on to the second. So that's how you implement the SPF encryption. Now let's move on to the DKIM properties that we need to implement. In order to do that, we need to go again to DMARC, then go to the DKIM record generator. Here we need to add the domain name, and over here you can select a selector. Now it is just a serial number. You can select the first character would always be S, but the second character can be different. It can be any number. However, I would use the number 1. Then click on generate.
DKIM. So DKIM is an email security method that uses a digital signature to verify whether an email has been sent from a specified domain or not. To understand DKIM, let's consider this example. In the old days, the letters were sent with a wax seal, bearing the unique stamp of the sender. If the wax seal is broken, then it tells that the mail has been tampered with. So DKIM adds a digital stamp to your emails. Whenever the recipient receives your email, it checks whether the digital signature has been tampered with or not, to understand if the email is secure and has been truly sent from you.
So now we will talk about how to implement DKIM encryption into the mail domains. In order to do that, we again have to go to this website called easydmark.com, go to the tools section and click on the DKIM record generator. Here we have to enter the domain name and then enter the selector. This can be S1 or S2. I prefer S1. Then click on generate. The records are generated and we just need to copy this into the DNS panel. Now the format is similar to this over here. So here you can see that we have a format called txt s2 domain key, and then we have the record value that needs to be implemented. So similarly, we just have to delete we can create an add new record. Click on the txt section, click on here. We have to mention S1. In our case, it was the selector is S1. So S1 the domain key, is the name of the record, and then the value would be over here. We can enter the value and then we can keep the TTL into 1.5 hours. Right now, then we need to then we can delete the existing record and then add the new record. Delete this one. Now click on save. The new DKIM records have been added successfully into the domain. Now we need to validate this using the MX toolbox. In order to do that, we again go to Google and type DKIM lookup MX toolbox, and then we click on the respective email. Enter the domain name and enter the selector. In our case, it was S1. Now we can simply click on DKIM lookup, and if you see a screenshot like this where here you can see it is clearly mentioned DKIM record found and the record is valid. This means that the DKIM encryption has been completely implemented in the email.
So DMARC. DMARC is an email validation system that uses both SPF and DKIM to check the security and the authenticity of the emails, and also gives instructions on how to handle a mail if it fails the above two checks. To understand DMARC, let's consider it as a security manager for your emails. Whenever an email hits your inbox, it checks whether the email is secure and authentic using both the SPF and DKIM tests. If, however, it fails, it follows the domain owner's instructions on what to do with the email, whether to quarantine it or to outright reject it.
Now we will implement the DMARC encryption into our email domain. In order to do that, again we go to the website easydmark.com, and then we go to the tools section, go to DMARC record generator. Here we have to do a couple of things. We have to mention the domain, click on reject over here, and then click on the exact email domain that you want to send the reports to. Subdomain policy should be reject, identifier should be relaxed, DKIM identifier alignment should be relaxed. Reporting interval, keep it all same. failure report sent to the same email that we used earlier. Rest all is same, generate the record. So now we go to the DNS section and add new record, choose txt. Here the format would be /.dmarc. So we do that. You can see I already have that thing, so there will be, I have the record over here. Click on copy the value from here and then enter it. The TTL should be 1.5 hours. Now since I already have a DMARC entry over here, I should delete it before I implement another one. So I delete that one. Now I implement the new DMARC extension. I click on save. The DMARC value has been implemented in the site. Now all we have to do is again validate that using MX Toolbox. So go to Google, type DMARC checker MX Toolbox. Go to click on the first link, enter the domain name and hit enter. Again, if you see a screenshot like this, you will understand that most of the again, if you see over here, you can see that DMARC record has been found and the record is valid as mentioned, and all of the parameters are ticked green. Hence, so this concludes the SPF, DKIM and DMARC implementation, security encryption on your email domains. Thank you.